Hi, everyone. Welcome to a Mulberry Talent Partners career conversation. My name is Leah Pons, and I am the Talent Acquisition Specialist here at Mulberry. At Mulberry, we are a full service recruiting agency serving the Pacific Northwest and the San Francisco Bay Area. Our specialty areas include human resources, administrative office, finance, accounting, payroll, and operations. So let's dive in today. We are joined by our founder, Lauren Francis, and Blake Thiess, head of sourcing and senior technical headhunter at Astra Talent Advisors. With 15 years of professional human resources and talent acquisition expertise, Blake is known for his unmatched passion and innovative approach to drive a company's talent acquisition function forward. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce Lauren and Blake.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Mulberry, and thank you all for joining us. We are so happy to have you here with us today. We're enthusiastic about today's topic and our speaker. And before we begin, this topic has drawn so much interest, and we want to make sure that you, as our audience, are always getting information and support, and we want to bring great topics and great speakers to you. And turning to Blake, he's been an incredible supporter of Mulberry over the years, and we're grateful for that connection. Blake and I have worked together and known each other for a number of years. And when we were thinking about this topic, we said, Blake. And Blake's so generous, he immediately signed on to join us today. Now, today, the job market has shifted once again, and due to economic conditions, and we're experiencing layoffs and a slow in hiring. We wanted to invite a senior recruiter to share insights and recommendations on how to stand out as a candidate. And so without further ado, welcome Blake to Career Conversations. Let's get started.
Yeah. First off, welcome everybody. Happy Thursday, and just much appreciation and love to Lauren. Thank you for the opportunity to bring some value to your audience and to help people level up, quite candidly, and stand out in a pretty competitive job market, as it were. So a little bit about me and who the heck I am. So I'm actually a local boy, born and raised in Salem, fifth generation Oregonian. It's been interesting watching this area of the country really evolve over the last 20 years for sure. I've got over 15 years of experience in human resources, 10 years just in recruiting, which when I was piecing this deck together, I'm like, that is so wild that I've been doing this for so long. Before I pivoted into my current role with a really great company called Ad Astra Talent Advisors, I was actually head of talent acquisition and employer branding for Prestige Care, who owns and operates over 75 assisted living and skilled nursing care centers up and down the West Coast. And I was blessed and privileged to be able to lead a team of high performing talent acquisition practitioners, et cetera. And I'm actually one of those weird kids. I got my degree in business with a focus and a concentration in human resources. Who does that anymore? So I've been in HR since day one, which is really interesting. I eventually got my PHR and my SHRM CP certification. So I've got a couple letters after my name. And so I've kept those up over the years. And that's something I do want to call out. That's a great way to stand out and put your candidacy in a different bucket. Whatever area of our economy that you're in, there's going to be some sort of certification or any sort of group that you can get involved with. Do whatever you can to make yourself that 1, 2, 3% better. And because that could get you in a different bucket of candidates, which could eventually get you the interview, which could get you the job. So always try and find that slight edge, everybody. It's going to be really key here. In addition to that, I've been lucky and blessed to speak at state, regional, and national conferences, including some recruiter geeky conferences like ERE Media and SourceCon, which has been really fun. And like I said, I'm the current head of sourcing and a senior technical headhunter for Ad Astra Talent Advisors. We really hyper focus on the new space and clean technology arenas, primarily focused on engineers and a bevy of other just brilliant people that are working for these really cool companies. A little bit more about me. And by the way, there's some intentionality in here, right? And I'm going to tell you why, but a little bit about me. I love to hike. That's out in the gorge, my favorite place to hike on top of Indian Point. I've got a little 19-month-old son named Ethan. A former colleague said he is your mini me, which I don't know about all that, but definitely love being a dad, and huge Oregon State football, basketball, and baseball fan. Love photography, and I love to cook, whether it's smoky meats or making pizza on my uni here at home, but also I'm really into personal growth. There will be some resources at the end of our dialogue that you can check out, but I love doing whatever I can to level up my game, whether it be digesting podcasts. I read a ton of books, over here, all surrounding personal development and growth. Now, why I'm sharing this with you, it's not about me. I'm curious about that. This is all about showing up to the marketplace in an intentional manner and showing your humanity. Because this is a way for you, here's a great example, for you to know me a little bit more and to create a memorable experience and a memorable interaction. So it was funny. The other day, I was in a conversation with some colleagues. We were talking about branding, and I just think personal branding wins the day. And I am of the opinion that you shouldn't have, social media profiles that are like one's professional and one personal. I think they need to be integrated. And I believe you need to bring the totality of your place to the workplace, but also as a job seeker, because it can help you stand out. And again, create a memorable experience, not only during the application process, but the interview process and beyond. So that's the why, right? This is a way to stand out here. I love this quote, and I must admit, you guys, I ripped this from one of my favorite author by the name of Rory Beatty. Diluted focus gets diluted results. And what I mean by this is if you simply shotgun blast, apply everywhere, and you just apply, and it's a totally diluted focus and a totally diluted approach, it's going to get you diluted results. So the antithesis of that is getting hyper focused, hyper personalized, and going not just wide, but deep. And we'll unpack what that looks like as a job seeker here in a moment. But again, anybody who knows me, anybody who I've been able to work with, I love this term, execution. Everything that we go over today, these are great tactical things that you can leverage, but it's one thing to think about it. It's completely different to actually sit down and execute. So if you really want to stand out, it's going to come down to execution. And by the way, if your friends here, Lauren and Leah, will send out the slide deck so you can take this into your job search and beyond. So let's talk about being prepared as a job seeker and being prepared when interviewing. I think that's where I'd like to start off from the jump off here. One way that you can stand out and give yourself the best opportunity to get that call back, to get that interview, is to take action and be one of the first to apply. What that looks like is checking for new roles every day, whether it be that specific job title or that specific organization. So for instance, we have big organizations like Nike and Adidas here in our backyard. First off, I don't know how you get into those companies because of the sheer volume, but my point is this. It can help you, it can give you a better opportunity to get a call back if you're one of the first to apply. For some of these roles, depending on what you're focused on, they get hundreds and hundreds of applications. Here's a great example. There's been this huge shift in the talent acquisition field of late due to a number of layoffs in the tech sector, which has flooded the market with talent acquisition practitioners. And so they're getting hundreds of applications for individual recruiter roles. So how you can buck that and how you can stand out and be prepared is to take action to be one of the first to apply. On Indeed and LinkedIn, you can actually set up alerts. So you can say, I want to be emailed when a new job that says, contracts manager is posted. And so that would prompt you to take action. In addition, hyper tailor your resume to a specific job at your target company. Does this take more time? You betcha it does. However, again, it goes back to my comment a few moments ago, diluted focus gets diluted results. You need to go deeper. Because if you jam that resume with things that you've done in your current or previous roles and how it builds the bridge to that role that you're applying to and that organization, it can help get you that call back. For instance, kind of peek behind the curtain as a recruiter for some of these roles that have these massive swaths of applications. Sometimes a recruiter will only be searching for certain keywords. So keep that in mind. And that's going to be a thread that goes through the conversation today. Keyword focus, not only on the resumes, but your LinkedIn profiles as well. And on the same topic with LinkedIn, make sure you're connecting with recruiters and other sort of hiring authorities at your target companies. So then the question has to be asked, okay, that's cool, Blake, But how do I do that? How do I find these people? Any recruiter or HR practitioner or any hiring manager worth their salt should, and more than likely, has a profile on LinkedIn. So how do we find these people? So in the top search there on the top of LinkedIn, in quotes, put recruiter and then the plus sign and then insert the company name. So basically to use some recruiting terminology here, get too geeky, you're Boolean searching to try and find a recruiter or a talent acquisition partner or a talent acquisition specialist. So like, for instance, you do like talent acquisition partner plus Nike, talent advisor plus another company around here, Adidas, for instance. So that is a way in which you can find out who these people are, make sure that you connect with them, and then add, and I didn't put this in here, I just thought about this, but add when you go to the connection request, maybe you've applied for a job. Say, hey, Johnny, recruiter at Adidas, I applied for the materials specialist role, rec number 5489. Would love to chat with you about it. So that's a way that you can find people. And then again, you want to build your network of hiring authorities, talent acquisition practitioners at your target companies, target organizations. The part B to this as well, finding recruiters on social, whether it be on Facebook, Instagram, etc., and DMing them on there. That's a great way to stand out. Some people, yeah, they may not like it. I can understand that 100%. But at the end of the day, we are in the attention game. Whether you're a talent acquisition practitioner like Leah, Lauren, myself, and others, or you're a job seeker. If you're a job seeker, you need to get the attention of the people making the hiring decisions, or at minimum, the gatekeepers, people like me and other recruiting practitioners. Like I mentioned a few moments ago, always send an inbound message. It could even be a video message after you apply. Don't just say, hey, I'm looking for a material specialist role. Okay, great. Thumbs up. It's completely different when you say, hey, I applied for material specialist job number 5823. I'm great for the role because of XYZ. Really excited to be chatting with you. It's completely different, right? Another kind of key hack that you can leverage here is finding the corporate email string. And what I mean by that is each company has a specific string that they follow. For instance, at my old employer, it was first name dot last name at Prestige Care. So if you find a hiring manager's name or a recruiter's name and you know their email format, keep a spreadsheet of it. I actually do. I actually have a spreadsheet of about 1,500 companies that I know their email string. So if I want to proactively engage somebody to extract them out of where they're at, I know that for company X, their email string is first name dot last name at target.com or first initial last names like BT, for instance. This can really help you, everybody, keeping that spreadsheet and inbound marketing yourself. Also, when you think about coming prepared to inbound market yourself or even prepping for an interview, identifying 1 to 2 projects that the company is working on, or maybe some articles or like recent achievements, that can show companies that you really give a day about what's going on. So another big topic here, and as Lauren and I were ruminating over this presentation and the value that we could bring you here, one of the key kind of cornerstones was how to really stand out on LinkedIn. So here's some quick tactical tips that you can leverage today that you can execute upon to stand out. And I know this because I spend all my day on LinkedIn and quite frankly, have been for the last 10 years. And it's really been interesting to see LinkedIn evolve over that last decade. But some easy tactical things. Put your contact information in your profile, whether it be your email, whether it be a phone number, social media handle. Make it as easy as possible for people like me who get paid to hire people for a living to approach you about an opportunity. Really easy thing for you to do, number one. Number two, social media is just that. Be social. Like, comment, and leave your 2 cents. Specifically, with recruiters and other sorts of hiring managers at your target companies. Why you want to do that? It shows your expertise. It shows you're involved in the dialogue, right? Social media is just that. Be social. That right there, liking, commenting, and just leaving a quick comment it can help bring visibility to your profile and ultimately to your personal brand. Show your value prop in your interactions with posts. It dovetails back to my previous comment. For instance, let's just say you're in between jobs and you were a sales executive, and at your last organization, you brought on 10 new clients in the past year. Call that out. Say, did you know, I was able to bring in 10 new clients, which drove rev by $2 million in fiscal 2022. Something like that. Now, some might say it's bragging. To that, I would say you're showing your value proposition, what you can bring to the marketplace, and specifically a role at an organization. Make sure you jam your profile with quantifiable achievements and keywords. Talked about that a few moments ago, but here is a kind of peek behind the curtain and a tactical example. First off, make sure that those quantifiable achievements and keywords are in fact true. Okay. I do want to say that. A peek behind the curtain. This has been going on my entire career, and any sort of recruiting professional. We search for certain keywords. So make sure that you're doing that. And if I'm going through a search and find a keyword, that will pop a search. Leah, did we have a question? Looks like they popped on here. Go ahead.
Yes, we did. Someone asked, should job seekers be copying information from their resume into the experience section of their LinkedIn profiles? Or do recruiters prefer to see different information than what is on their resume?
Great question. It can be either or. I view LinkedIn really an augment of your resume. For me, I don't wait for resumes from candidates because we work at a pretty fast pace. So I want to be able to download your LinkedIn profile. If your LinkedIn profile is full of your experience and your value proposition, on my end, I can save your profile to PDF and then send it on over. And so the grander your LinkedIn profile is filled out, the better. That would be my 2 cents on that. That's a really great question. And thank you, viewer, for that. That's good stuff. Show how you're a subject matter expert in your field. So whether you've been podcast guest like I have numerous times, which always is really fun, various speaking engagements, or maybe you were part of some sort of group, that could really help as well. Leah, did we have another question here?
Yes. Is there a way to make it known you are open to new opportunities without your current employer seeing this information as well?
Great question. So the answer to that is yes. And let me kind of expand on that. So when you go in your profile on LinkedIn, you can actually click it's like a little pencil, and you can change to show that you're open to work. Now, the only people that can see that are people who have LinkedIn recruiter seats, which is a really costly investment that companies make for primarily recruiting professionals. And so when we go on people's profiles on LinkedIn Recruiter, we can see if they're open to work. And you can actually put in, hey, I'm looking for a job in Portland that's hybrid. I'm looking for a material scientist, material specialist, bartender job titles, right? You can actually put that on there. Now, why you would want to do that is because me, a little peek behind the curtain, when I'm going to search for people and I see that, that Susie is open for a material scientist job in the Portland area, and I have a client or I work for a company that's looking for a material scientist person, and I see that you're open to work, boom, I'm going to reach out to you because I see that you're open to recruiting professionals reaching out to you. So yeah, you can do that. Another thing here, profile video. This is actually a new feature there in LinkedIn. And it goes back to my comments. We click in here. It goes back to my comments about showing your humanity, showing who you are, things like that. So on LinkedIn, you can actually shoot, and you have to do this on your phone. This is a new thing as of like probably 2-3 months ago at this point, if I were to estimate. This is my profile. So you can actually shoot a video that shows up. So when somebody shows up to your LinkedIn profile, a video of you introducing yourself shows up. How engaging is that, you guys? That's super cool. I can't do it right now, but that's how you would do that. And it's a really cool feature. So make sure you do that. Another piece here, I gotta keep going here. Publishing articles and blogs that maybe show your expertise in your specific field. That's a way to stand out. Another just tactical, easy example, upload your resume to the document section of LinkedIn. Again, back to that comment and that question earlier, I could download that resume really quickly. So make sure you do that. We talked about the open to work option, and then video. What I mean by this, everybody, video gets a ton more engagement. I remember reading an article probably about a year ago or something along those lines that said any sort of video content on social, whether it be LinkedIn, Insta, Facebook, whatever the case may be, got something like 30% more engagement or something like that. And now I know on Instagram for sure, they have chucked all of the still photos and it's all reels. It's basically TikTok like in a lot of ways. And so these social media companies have gone all in on video. That's why if you like go on my LinkedIn page, I have a ton of video on there. Some intentionality there. It's not just gaming the algorithm. It's also what's really cool about video is it's showing your humanity. It's building rapport. It's showing that you're a human, right? So it's a great tactical thing. And above all, show and tell your expertise. Everybody's got their expertise. So make sure that you're sharing that at scale. Another thing this is a quote I live by. If you want to be visible, you cannot be invisible. You must be a content creator and you must be visible. Going back to my comments about social media being social, liking, commenting, leaving your 2 cents, put your value proposition out there. Can it be scary for some people? Absolutely. I understand that 100%. But if you want to stand out from the noise of life, we live in such a noisy world, everybody. Do these tactical things. There's some other things that I've found that would allow somebody to stand out during an interview, right? You've done all the prep work, gotten the interview, you got the call back. So just tactical things here. And these examples are examples that I have garnered over the years, doing 10 years doing this, which is crazy. But I love this quote. When you're ready, you don't have to get ready. And what I mean by that is make sure that you're prepared. If it's a video interview, come 15 minutes early, make sure the tech works. If it's a phone interview, make sure that you have cell phone coverage. Stuff like make sure that you're not driving during the interview if you can. Things like that. Yeah. I know Lauren's laughing. She probably hears that all the time. I do as well, interestingly enough. A couple other things here. The first 5 minutes, you guys, really sets the tone. Build rapport early and often, show your humanity. Be proactive in showing interest in the person interviewing you. And don't just talk about the weather, but just be really honest. Here's a great example. When I interview somebody, I immediately tell them exactly why I reached out to them. And it's not to flatter them. It's because I generally want to tell them why them. But also for me, I'll even say stuff like, oh yeah, if somebody asks me like, how's your day going? I'll say something true. Hey, I've got my cold brew coffee in front of me. I got a great dog walk earlier today. My dog's name is Penny. She's a 3-year-old chocolate lab. Having a great morning. That hits completely different than it's 42 and raining in Portland. You know what I mean? Leah, I think we have a question here. I popped on. Go ahead.
Yes, we do. Are recruiters still asking what are your biggest weaknesses?
Recruiters do ask that. If I may, you guys, I think that's a bullcrap question. I think it's a waste of time. I think it's a waste of the interviewer's time and the interviewee's time. What they should be asking, in my professional opinion, is what is one of your failures and how did you overcome it? See how that hits different? Because I want to know, are you gritty? Are you resilient? And by the way, it doesn't matter what role that you're going towards. Employers want to show that you can be resilient and something quantifiable in some hardship that you've gotten over. Believe me, as somebody who has hired recruiters in the past, I grew a team from a team of 3 to it's had a team of 10. That was my favorite interview question because we will all undergo hardships. I don't care who you are. The people that win are the people that fall down 7 and get up 8 and are stronger because of it. We're stronger in our crafts. Great question there. Some other things here, get specific with your examples of responses. I can't tell you how many interviews I've been on where that interviewee was just speaking in generalities and things along those lines. So get really specific with your examples. And it actually goes back to my first bullet point here. Make sure when you're prepping for your interview, I would really encourage you guys to do this. And I know we're all busy, take 15, 20 minutes and really just sit down in the classroom of silence, what I would say, after the kids go to bed, or maybe get up in the morning early like me and have a morning routine. Really think about 2 to 3 examples that you can really lean back on and speak to. I think another key thing here, describe how you have solved a business problem for your team or your boss. At the end of the day, I don't care what job that you're in. We're in the business problem solving business, right? So if you can show that you are a problem solver and have specific examples relative to that, that can help you stand out. Also, bring the juice. This is my own terminology. What does that mean? Bring the energy, bring the passion. You don't want to just sit and talk like this, and I'm talking like this, and it's very mundane. And yeah, I'm having a good day. Don't do that. Who cares? Me as a recruiter, I'll sit and interview 5 more people. I want somebody who's excited about the company, role, and what the heck they're doing. That's what I want to see. Build the bridge. What I mean by that is build the bridge between your experience, where you've been, your educational background, and build the bridge to this company, this role, and future roles. So build the bridge. Help me as a recruiter to understand why you're a phenomenal fit for this role at this company. Now, part of being a good recruiting practitioner is extracting out the greatness in people. In my experience, most talent acquisition professionals, they lean into interviews as an interrogation. It is not an interrogation, it's a conversation. And whenever I have the privilege to lead other TA practitioners, that's what I coach and teach. We are here to extract out the greatness in people, asking good questions. And also on that topic, come with questions, come with well thought out questions. There are so many questions you can ask, right? I would really lean into questions such as, what is the leadership style of our hiring manager? Tell me about that. Or what is the biggest business problem your group has faced? And if I'm given the opportunity, how can I help solve that problem? Recruiters, hiring authorities, they want to hire people who are solution oriented. Okay. Most people, they don't ask well thought out questions in my experience. And then finally here, do you have any hesitations with what I can bring to the role or what I can bring to the organization? I would call that a soft close, because if recruiter person or hiring manager says, yeah, I have hesitations in this area, then you can say, hey, I totally get it. And my apologies that I didn't call that out during the interview, but here's how I have done that. So that goes back to this, like when you're ready, you don't have to get ready. It goes back to having examples and things along those lines. Here's some kind of common interview mistakes that I have found that have acted as common threads throughout the years after interviewing literally thousands of people. Maybe I should have kept track of all this over the years, but I've interviewed thousands of people at this stage. But here's what I've found that most people that they fall short, right? A candidate doesn't actually answer the question. Most people will just, they get a question asked to them and then they just start talking and it's but a word salad. What I coach and teach is when you're asked a question, physically take a breath and then answer the question. Another thing I actually didn't put on here that I just thought of, make sure your posture. I don't care if you're in a video interview or you're in a phone interview situation, sit up, shoulders back, sit up, take a breath, because the physical part of how you show up also helps shape the words that are coming out of your mouth and how you show up in your answers and things like that. So make sure that you're actually answering the question. And here's a kind of a hack from a recruiter behind the scenes here. You could always end your response by saying, I think that answers your question. Did I answer your question? And they'll either say yes or no. Great kind of tactical tip there. Another thing here, not being concise. And I think for most people, they're really scared or anxious during interviews. That's why I say take a deep breath before you go into an interview or you are asked a question. Take a breath, compile your thoughts, and put out a nice, concise 60 to 90-second answer. The specific answer, by the way. Another common thread and a common mistake I see is the interviewee wants to drive the bus, right? And I must admit, I've done this in my past as a candidate, and shame on me because I have a lot to say and I'm really passionate. Maybe that could be off-putting for some people. So I'm emotionally intelligent enough to say that I've probably done this. What I mean by this is just you're so juiced up and you're so excited and maybe you're anxious that you just want to drive the conversation. You don't want to do that. Another common thread I've seen, people not preparing for the interview whatsoever. Back to my comments earlier, I know Lauren's laughing. If there's other recruiting professionals on this call, I'm sure you're over here saying, yes, 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 Blake. I've seen a lot of people don't have any questions. That shows me as a recruiter, you really don't care. Let's call a spade. Or they're taking their call or a call from their car or conducting an interview while emptying dishwasher. I wish I was making that up, you guys. That's happened numerous times. I get it. We're all busy. I cook and clean a lot here in my household, including emptying the dishwasher, but make sure you're not doing that during an interview situation. Candidly, go to a quiet place in your house. Maybe you're in your car, park your car. I remember, here's an example. In my early days post grad, I wanted to live and work in Seattle. I remember taking a phone interview from the Target parking lot in Tumwater, Washington. I wish I was making that up, but I'm not. And I remember doing that. I remember I'm driving up to Seattle and I had this interview. This was 8, 9, 10 years ago or something at this point. It was a long time ago. And I remember thinking, okay, I got to get off I-5 here because I don't want the interviewer to think I'm driving while I'm on the call. So make sure that you're being safe. Another common thread I see, no juice, no energy, bring that passion. It's part B to this last slide here, but people not giving quantifiable specific examples. Another common thread I've also seen is lack of emotional intelligence and lack of accountability. What I mean by that is, if this topic comes up in an interview, the interviewee would say, it was my boss's fault, or Susie coworker didn't do this. I want to find people who are going to say, hey, we didn't get this outcome. Here's what I could have done better in my purview to help get the team to that outcome. We don't want people, recruiters, hiring authorities. We don't want finger pointers. We want problem solvers. So solve that problem. Don't point the finger. Take extreme ownership, to use one of my favorite author, Jocko Willink. I'll talk about him in a moment. Take extreme ownership into everything in your purview. And then finally here, tech not working, not picking up the phone. This is crazy, you guys. I don't care. Even for some of these people that I'm hiring who are highly educated people making a ton of money, they don't pick up the phone during a mutually agreed upon date and time, things like that, or the tech not working. It goes back to making sure that you're ready. When you're ready, you don't have to get ready. Make sure that you're investing the time upfront to reap dividends downstream. Some other quick, I know we're past time here, other tactical actions to stand out that are going to help you in your search. Produce content and put that out every day. A few of my favorite resources, Canva. It's free. You can do it on your desktop or on your supercomputer phone that we all have in our pockets. Another thing I talked about, video, iMovie for our friends, myself with the iPhone. Teach yourself how to make little iMovies and little clips on iMovie. Honestly, I am not a video producer. I taught myself how to do it. Just play around with it. Or better yet, go on YouTube and type in how to produce iMovies. It can help you and it's going to help you stand out. I promise you guys. I promise you that. You could put like quotes and other sorts of different kind of content here. In-person networking and job fairs. Yes, they still exist. I have so many thoughts on the back end about like job fairs and networking and things like that. But I remember, here's a great example. I follow the Boise State Employer Services Department on Instagram. I follow them because we used to recruit nurses from Boise State, on and on. They said that they had 140 companies coming to their upcoming job fair. 140. That is bananas. And so in-person networking events, job fairs, they're not dead. Guess what? That is a way for you to stand out. And then back to this right here, it can help you stand out, build rapport, show your humanity live and in living color in this culture that we're hiding behind these things and these things. The people that stand out can build an authentic experience and rapport, human to human. We're meant to be in community, everybody. That's what we're designed for. And so if you can go to these in-person networking events, job fairs, things like that, it can give you that slight edge. That's why I'm here, to help you understand the slight edge. Another thing here, leverage external agencies. Mulberry partners, awesome people. Ad Astra Talent Advisors, we do awesome work. Leverage those external agencies because they can help point you and get you connected with companies that you want to work at. I promise you that. Another really quick tactical action, ask for recommendations on LinkedIn and be able to speak to those. When I left my previous employer, I reached out to a lot of our regional people or C-suite and like all these people I worked with for a number of years. Hey, would you be willing to give me a recommendation? And so that's on there. And by the way, it's not just those great partners that I worked with for years, but it's awesome people that I had the privilege to lead that left a recommendation. I'm so thankful for those. And that can help you and it can give you that slight edge. Really quick, some resources for you to check out. Everybody loves resources. Number one, check out my friend Amy Miller on YouTube. She's a recruiter for Amazon, gone to numerous conferences with, she produces content in video form on YouTube surrounding a variety of topics for job seekers. And she's so stinking funny. Talk about an authentic person. She's great. Follow Amy. They're on the YouTube machine. Podcasts, I listen to a ton of them, but these are some of my favorites. These are all people in a personal development space. This can help give you confidence and help you evolve your personal brand. And it's just not that. It's helping you evolve and reinvent yourself in a lot of ways. Check out these podcasts. I have so many books I could point to. When I was putting together this deck, I'm like, how do I choose 6 of these? I don't know, but here's a couple of my favorites. Yeah, and you can check those out as well. Q&A. My favorite part of this, I know we're past time. Leah, Lauren, any sort of questions come in that we can speak to?
There doesn't seem to be additional questions, but I wanted to talk a little bit about a couple of years ago, probably 5 or 6 years ago, you spoke at a SourceCon event. And it was just when this video idea was just getting started. And
Yeah.
you were so authentic. You just said, hey, look it, I just started.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that because you were so clear that, no, this feels a little awkward, whatever. And you just dove in, you made it happen for yourself. And what it's done is it's given you confidence, it's given you clarity, it's given you a voice. And then, of course, the ability to help so many people because this presentation was full of so much. And so it was so helpful to so many. Many of the tips that you talked about and suggestions were, I'm sure people have not really heard these before.
Yeah.
And really impressive. And I think the audience really obviously can see that you are a generous and an energetic person and a very kind. And it was so great to have you and your energy on the show today to really talk about these things. And so one of the things that I recommend to the audience here is to follow Blake on LinkedIn. Because even this morning, he was giving advice to job seekers. And so those are the kind of things that you'll benefit from by following Blake on LinkedIn. And I just think that really it does take practice and it does take time. And I think it's really hard for people to really show up in a confident way. It's just not easy to do. And the more you practice, it'll start to be second nature.
No, I couldn't agree more, Lauren. Thank you for those words. Very much appreciated. And everybody, Lauren's right. I live by the many phrases, but one of the phrases that I live by is sprint towards the hard stuff. And it's uncomfortable. I get it. Showing up, shooting a video, or maybe you're an introvert and you don't want to go to a job fair or a networking event or something like that. Push yourself, be intentional, and sprint towards the hard stuff. Guess what? That's where we grow.
Yep.
Most people sit on the sidelines and they sit in their cocoon. And I think that's human nature. We evolve and we get better by doing things we've never done and sprinting towards and doing things that ordinary people won't do. That's how winning is done. That is how winning is done. So I would encourage you all, whatever your practice is, whatever you do, sprint towards the hard stuff.
Yep. And I always tell people, get in the arena.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah. And and we can all do this. We've all been there. We're still there. There's still discomfort in some of the things that we've talked about, but get comfortable feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah. I think really quick in closing, everybody, max it out. Just go to the wall. You can do that. Like you see here on the slide, reach out to me. No, seriously, I am put on this earth to be of service. That's why I'm here. That's why God has designed me. And so I'm here to be of service. Don't hesitate to reach out. Love to just connect with you and see how I can serve you. Thanks so much for the opportunity, Lauren and team. And thanks so much, everybody. Max out.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Blake. We really appreciate having you on today. And we will be back with you again soon, I'm sure.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye, everyone.